Hello and welcome back to Suspended Animation. I'm your host, Dennis Batholkus, and welcome to this very special episode of Saturday Morning Blast Off. Welcome, everybody. Yes, 1,000 subscribers. Thank you, everybody who subscribed, and thank you, Crow94, for subscribing and unsubscribing, subscribing, unsubscribing, subscribing, and unsubscribing. It was noticed. Yes, I saw it. And yes, thank you to everybody who, again, I'm going to talk about this a little bit more. I'm going to plug the channel a little bit more. Um, always getting more subscribers, that kind of thing. So let me get to it, and then we'll get down to this 1,000 subscriber thing. If you like what you see here, like, share, and subscribe. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, take a look at the video that pops up at the very end here. Basically, YouTube takes the algorithms of all the stuff you've been watching and tries to match it as best as possible to one of the videos in my vast video library and pops it up there just for you. And if you like what you see there, hit that subscribe button down below. Also, if you want to know when I'm going to be on live again next, you hit the bell down below. It's a 50-50 chance of YouTube actually notifying you. Best thing to do is go to suspendedfanimation.com. Take a look at the schedule. I change it out every week. And also I have all the links to my social media. So Twitter, Instagram, Patreon. Tiers are coming to the Patreon. Again, I've just been busy at work and I haven't put it together. And also I have the links to this YouTube channel, my Facebook page, and a Facebook group page where you guys can post stuff and chat amongst yourselves. There we go. Yeah, so it's been a long journey. 2 years, I guess you could say, is what I've been doing. Chris says, sorry, my kid's always messing with my cell phone. No problem, man. No, it's kind of funny. I just noticed that you unsubscribe, resubscribe. It was kind of funny, It was one of those things that I tell my mods and all that stuff about. So where does it go from here? So I have input for the monetization portion of this where I get ad revenue. That's going to be a month out is what they say, because they changed all their plans and everything, Google, YouTube, all that stuff. So you get 1,000 subscribers, 4,000 watch hours, which I have both, of course. And then they go, okay, you're good to go. Subscribe for monetization. And I'm like, what? I already did. And they're like, and we got to review your channel for a month. It could take up to a month for us to review everything. And then you're going to be good to go. So, which is fine. I mean, that's perfectly fine. I'm in no rush. Obviously, it took me a little while to get to 1,000 subscribers, and I'm in no rush to monetize at this point. So, thank you, everybody who was a part of this, and also just the people that came in and have watched videos and stuff like that, and also the naysayers in the comment sections and stuff like that, which is always fun to respond back to. There's always a go ask your mom comment that I respond back with every now and then, which is always great to respond back with. So yeah, it's I do have genre news for you guys as well, but again, like I said, Saturday free form, let it rip, genre rip, I should say. So let's see what we got here. Yeah, so American Horror Stories Finn Whitrock has been cast as Guy Gardner for HBO's Green Lantern Corps series. So yes, they are doing a live action Green Lantern Corps. Of course, this is Greg Berlanti from the Berlanti verse, also the Arrowverse and all of that. But he's doing this for HBO Max. And I'm excited. I want to see. So it's supposed to be Green Lanterns throughout history, throughout time, I guess you could say. And so they're going to focus on different Green Lanterns and have their own stories. I guess it's going to be like an anthology story, kind of like American Horror Story, where this guy's coming from, Finn Whitrock. Hey, Keith Hamilton, how's it going? So yeah, it's going to be an interesting thing. Thanks, Philip. Thank you. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I just want to see what they're going to do, especially since they're going to have a bigger budget with HBO Max. They're going to have HBO money in order to do this, and that's what needed to be done to do Green Lantern, right? Are we going to see Hal Jordan? I doubt it. Are we going to see Jon Stewart? Highly doubtful. I believe they're saving those for the movies. Those two guys. Also, I think we might see Kilowog. I remember seeing something about some artwork for Kilowog, and for some reason they had a mask on him, which doesn't really work for Kilowog. It really doesn't. And I couldn't remember if they were saying that was the movie or if that was the TV show or the HBO Max series, however you want to look at it. I look at it as a TV show. So, and also for those of you who actually have been following my Invincible reviews, Amazon has renewed Invincible for not just season 2, but also season 3. So seasons 2 and 3 we've got of Invincible coming up, which is great. It's a great series. If you haven't caught it, it's on Amazon Prime. It's animated. It's Robert Kirkman, by the way. So based off the long running comic, I want to say it finally ended after like over 1,000 issues, something like that. And I want to say it ended. I don't know for sure. I haven't picked up comics in a while. So yeah, I agree with you, Penn. That finale was fucking brutal. That was probably one of the most brutal things. If you are still on the fence about watching it, think of The Boys, only a little less crass than The Boys, but animated. And there you have it. And yeah, it's wow. That's all I can say. And this is no knock against The Boys. I love The Boys as well. This is just more it's more geared towards like almost like a Peter Parker in a way, coming of age and just, superpowers and all that stuff. How could you ever do Invincible live action? You could. Excuse me. I mean, how could you do The Boys live action? I think it works out pretty well. I think they could do it. Yeah. There's going to be a lot of CGI if they do Invincible live action. There's going to be a lot of CGI. And it's going to have to be huge. Mark says it's a show that Dennis likes and it isn't canceled. It's that good. Morks, that's never been proven. Okay. It really hasn't. It's just, it's a rumor that you guys have started. That's all. Venture Boys. It's not Venture Boys, Apple Crow. It really isn't. But yeah, I'm actually jazzed that it's got a season 2 and 3. It's really something good to look forward to. And speaking of new series, I've been talking about this one for a while as well. June 4th, we're going to get Sweet Tooth at Netflix. So Sweet Tooth is based off of a DC. It's actually one of DC's other titles, I guess you could say. And it's post-apocalyptic about a boy who is a human deer hybrid and post-apocalyptic. There you go. It's also produced by the Downeys, Robert Downey Jr. and his wife, and they're the ones that bankrolled it. And I believe it's narrated by John Goodman. There's a trailer that's up right now, and that actually looks really, 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 really good. It actually looks really beautiful too. The comic is it was one of the best comics when it came out and all that. And yes, definitely take a look at the comic as well. Every time I mention something that's coming out as a series and that I'm behind, that's based off a comic, go and take a look at the comic as well. I mean, the comic, the source material is awesome. I mean, there's a reason why they're mining this stuff in order to make TV shows, movies, things like that, is because those ideas are fucking awesome and people love them. And you're going to find the same, sometimes more stuff within the comic than you're going to find on the TV show or the movie. Yeah. Yes, Keith Hamilton, Jupiter's Legacy is... I actually have it on the website. Believe it or not, I have it on Suspended. So if you go to suspendedfanimation.com and you go down to the schedule and click on the show more, there's a future stuff down there. And Jupiter's Legacy is up there for May 7th. So yeah, that's this Friday. Yeah. Bad Batch is going to be on Tuesday. Jupiter's Legacy is on Friday, and then of course we have Loki coming up in June 11th. So that yeah, that's going to be of course after Bad Batch. And if I look like I'm looking up, it's because I've got a gigantic monitor in front of me and it is like up above me here. So I apologize if I'm looking up every now and then. Yes, Loki. I know, Penn. I know I'm actually jonesing for Loki too. So Loki and time travel and Marvel stuff. So you got three of those things mixed together. I'm fucking in. I am all in at this point. Uh, yeah, I mean, I'm a huge time travel story fan. I really am. If it's done well and you can actually back up, make a reasonably good time travel movie or show, I will watch it. I mean, literally, I will, and I will plug it too. So, I mean, it's definitely worth it. I have done that before on this channel too. Um, and like I said, still my favorite movie right now, I would say about time travel is The History of Time Travel. Yeah, it's a 2013 movie. I want to say it's on Amazon Prime for free if you have an Amazon Prime account, of course. And great little documentary type of movie that is so unassuming until you start watching it. And if you're paying attention, it's really, really, really good. And it's very well done, especially for the budget that they have going on it, which is pretty much no budget. They did it on shoestring budget. I think they said the guy only spent I want to say it was in the 10 grands there, but yeah, he did a really good job. I would say give that man a job in the movies, doing some good stuff. What else do I have going on here? Oh yeah. So remember that live action He-Man movie that or remake of the Masters Universe that kind of got delayed with COVID and everything? Well, it got delayed so long that Noah Centino, who is playing He-Man slash Prince Adam, has dropped out. And actually, we're going to see him anyway in Black Adam, the Dwayne Johnson movie, the DC movie. He's going to be playing Atom Smasher, and who, of course, is part of the Justice League Society or the JSA, Justice Society of America, which is not to be confused with the Justice League of America. Different eras, different people, although they all cross over. DC gets confusing in their timelines, so much so that they've given up on it and they said it's all within the same. It's all different universes, but they're all DC and they're all canon now, is what they say. So, yeah, fuck DC. I'm sorry. It's just I've gotten to the point where if you can't keep control of what your timelines are in your own comics to the point where you just got to say fuck it, it's all canon and it takes place on different universes, different worlds. It's not worth it at that point. You can't keep track of it. Unfortunately, Marvel is doing that too in the comics. Kevin Smith is a different one. That's an animated version. And I don't think he is voicing that. I think someone else is voicing that one. Keith. Yeah, I know that Mark Hamill is voicing Skeletor in the Kevin Smith version, the animated version, which is fucking awesome. Why so harsh on comics, on DC Comics, Carl? They just kind of pissed me off as of when you start getting that wishy-washy about your timelines, to the point where you just kind of give up and go, fuck it. It's all canon. It just gets annoying. It really does. It also hurts back issue sales, believe it or not. So for those people that are collectors of comics and stuff like that, it actually hurts back issue sales when you start doing stuff like that. I know a few comic store owners that have back issues still, and they get pissed off every time one of the big wigs does something like that. Yeah. Yes, I agree, Apple Crow. Mark Hamill is the perfect choice to play Skeletor. I love Mark Hamill's voice acting. I really do. I am so glad he got into voice acting long ago. And I mean, even his little nuanced stuff, like, playing, he voices Art, the tailor for superheroes in Invincible. And it's a small role, it's an unassuming role, and you don't even recognize him as Mark Hamill when he's doing it. And it's just one of those great things that he can actually change his voice inflections. Yes, every now and then you catch little flecks of the Joker every now and then in there, but that's because it's his own voice. But yeah, so he's an awesome actor. He really is. Carl says quality in sales. Yes, that makes sense. Yeah, it's hell on the retailer. It really is, Carl. It really is hell on the retailer when they start doing stuff like that, and also on the market too. Um, and that's just I'm not talking about speculator market. I'm just talking on the collector market for everybody at that point. Where else am I? What else do I have? Oh God, yeah. So Whoopi Goldberg says that she's writing a movie about an older black woman that gains superpowers and has to learn how to use them. Fuck no. Whoopi, just stay out of it. Just stay out of it. Stay on the View or whatever the fuck you're doing. That really god awful talk show, that you're doing, and don't get into the superhero business. Stay out of the superhero business. Stay the fuck away from the superhero movies. Whatever you want to do, like a guest cameo voice on Invincible. Perfect. That's about as far as I want you to go. I look at this as like what's her name, Melissa McCarthy, doing that thing that she did on Netflix, the superhero one. I'm not going to see that shit. One, her husband wrote it. Two, her husband directed it. And like he's done all for her past movies, a couple of past movies that just were shit storms of a movie. They were dumpster fires within a shit storm, is what they were. And yeah, it couldn't be worse than Thunder Force. Exactly what I'm talking about, Keith. I didn't watch it. It looked like it was bad, and I was not going to go there on that one. Carl says, "Has Whoopi written anything complex in the past? Not that I know of." So that's the other thing too, is I don't know if she's ever written a script. So yeah. Philip A. Demick says, I used to like even poor time travel stories until Legends of Tomorrow jumped the megalodon. Uh, Legends of Tomorrow is one of those guilty pleasure. It's not even a guilty pleasure. It's fun. It's just a fun show that doesn't take itself seriously, and that's what I look at it as. It reminds me of those old, kind of like DC Brave and the Bold, the animated one that came out not too long ago, and where it just doesn't take itself seriously. That was some of the DC stuff of the 70s and the 80s, even, where they would do stories that didn't take themselves seriously, that were supposed to be fun, that were not supposed to be part of canon or anything like that. And that's what Legends is. Legends actually does a lot of fourth wall breaking, where they're talking about like the Crisis, whatever new crossover event that's going to happen, and they talk about it like they know it's happening, that people are watching it, kind of thing. And I love that. I really do. We need a. You want me to do a? Is it worth my time on Thunder Force? I don't know if I could do it, dude. I really don't. Because that would probably be a rage, a rage one. I, uh, yeah, I thought about it for a hot minute, and I was like, I can't do it. I really fucking can't do it. I don't know if I could sit through it. I did the one that she did with James Corden. That was fucking god awful. That was a is it worth my time? And I really I shit on that one quite a bit. Thank you, Cheryl. You actually were there from the beginning, I believe. Cheryl, you were, or close to the beginning. I know that. Actually, a lot of you guys were. So, yeah. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, I don't know, Keith. If I did yeah, I know. Do you want my eyes to pop out of my head? I don't know if I could do yeah, Thunder Force. I really don't think I could do it. I would probably if it's as bad as I think it is, I would probably quit about 10, 15 minutes into it. And from what I understand, it is really fucking bad. I've seen little clips here and there, and I've read reviews on them, and I'm just like, wow. Yeah, I would know what the synopsis is roughly. Um, that Jason Bateman's in it too. I'm I just have to wonder, do they have dirt on these people? Enough dirt where they're just like making them come into their movies and make their movies and also being able to make their movies because I don't think these movies are making any money. You know what? I would rather watch Inhumans pen than Thunder Force. I really would. Keith says, just kidding, it's crap. I gave up and came in with an open mind. Ooh, wow. Yeah. Oh yeah, Carl. Well, I like Melissa McCarthy when she's not in her husband's films. Let's just say that. If she is in something else that her husband hasn't touched and he isn't in as well, I'm okay with it. But unfortunately, she has tied herself to, and I'm just gonna say it, a no talent ass clown. And he's taken her down with him. There, I said it. Yeah. With that said, Elizabeth Banks is producing an animated series for Fox, and it's about an adult version of the Flintstones called Bedrock. And she's actually going to be voicing a grown-up Pebbles who is going to be entering the workforce, kind of like a millennial, if you will. And Fred is getting ready to retire, I guess you could say, or is getting up there in years. And yeah, this is going to be on Fox. They're talking about doing this. I, I, I don't know what to say about this one. I'm kind of like, yeah, I can see that. I can see it might be funny, but at the same time, like it's the Flintstones, man. Uh, I would almost say if this is on Adult Swim, I'd be all for it. But having it on Fox, I don't know. I really don't know. Um, Apple Crow says sounds like All in the Family meets the dinosaurs. Yeah, you want to see a dark fucking episode, by the way, watch that last episode of Dinosaurs that's on Disney Plus now. They have the entire series up on there. Oh, that's a dark episode, that last episode. It really is. Especially just the last fucking 5 minutes of it. It's really, really dark. Um, don't mess with the Flintstones, Penn says. I agree with you. I mean, I could see it. The Flintstones have been off TV and out of the public's mind, I guess you can say, for a reasonable amount of time now. When was the last live action Flintstones movie? It's got to be over 10 years now. So I mean, I'm okay with it. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you, Phil. I mean, it's a good finale, but it was just really fucking dark, especially for TV, and it was supposed to be geared towards kids. But yeah, that last episode was just fucking brutally dark. The only thing that was darker, I want to say, there was a Futurama episode, or it was three stories, three vignettes, and they all end in death. Uh, and it's Futurama. Whoever wrote that, those episodes, it was wow, just horrifying. It really was. Keith Hamilton says Vivo Rock Vegas. I actually saw it in the theater. Wow. So you were the one who actually paid money for that one. I kid, I kid. I know there was at least two people who saw it. Roku has dropped YouTube TV from their service, I guess you could say. And okay, that's great. I mean, is anyone really using YouTube TV? Are they paying for it? I mean, what is it now? $60 a month, which is like cable prices at this point. Um, quite honestly, so I have I've said this before. I have a Fire TV Cube that I watch in the main room, which I'm looking right at it right now. Um, And in the bedroom, I actually just got for the smaller TV a Roku soundbar, which actually has Roku, the Roku app and all that stuff in there, which is actually really good. I mean, it's one of the best sound bars I've ever heard, and it's small, so it fills the room with sound and everything. It's really good. I really don't need anything more than that. I don't need a YouTube TV. I don't need to subscribe to any Roku stuff or anything like that. You get the both best of both worlds, and it's all free stuff. So yeah. Uh Raymond K. Hess says, in which way would you not want to die, or which way would I don't know, Raymond. Yes, none of the above. How about that? That's a little too much to ask during one of these things, man. Go to something more happier place. So going back to Roku and Fire TV, um, quite honestly, both platforms offer, as far as I'm concerned, the same amount of stuff of what I want to watch. I'm not paying for Hulu. I've maxed out on what I'm paying for streaming services. I don't watch a good majority of what it is anyway off of Disney Plus and HBO Max. I don't utilize it to the extreme, or Netflix for that matter. So I will pop it on and watch stuff. But yeah, I mean, and I try and watch new stuff all the time, of course, to bring stuff to the channel here. One of the things you might find surprising that I've been watching on like Disney Plus, for example, that I've gotten into is there's the Mighty Ducks TV show called Game Changer, I believe is what it is. And Emilio Estevez is back in it. So is Lauren Graham from fuck, I can't remember what that CW show was that she was on now. But yeah, they're both in it, and I actually like it. It's not bad. It's nostalgic, but it's a lot of fun too. I mean, it's a kid show. It's totally a kid show, and watch it. The other one is John Stamos playing a former college basketball coach that, for a whole bunch of reasons, ends up going to a girls' school in La Jolla, California. Hey, Shook, thanks, man. And it's actually filmed in San Diego, believe it or not. It was kind of funny. I was like, yeah, I move out of San Diego, and they get one film production that comes in, or one TV show production, and it's actually really good. It's a I think it's called uh something about hoops. I can't remember what it was. Gilmore Girls. Thank you, Celebro. Yes, Lauren Graham was in Gilmore Girls. Couldn't remember I never watched the show. So speaking of Melissa McCarthy, I think that was one of her first shows that she was in, was Gilmore Girls. Um, but the John Stamos show, fuck, I can't remember the name of it. It's got hoops in the title, but it's actually pretty good. And it's funny. I'm sitting there looking at it, going, okay, so the house they just rented in the next episode here was, I was like, that's not by the beach. That's not anywhere near the beach. That's actually in Bayho, is where that's at. And yeah, it's kind of funny just pinpointing places. Yeah. Raymond K. Hess says, honestly, YouTube creators like yourself help with entertainment, especially with great picks. Like, thank you, man. I try and bring stuff that I like to you guys as well, and try to present it. And it might not be stuff that you're aware of, or that you might not really have been into, to tell you the truth. And I try and give you at least a little, piecemeal of stuff to go and take a look at it. So, oh man, sorry, Apple Crow. Yeah, that sucks. Yeah. Um, Philip Adamic says, guys, it's safe to film here. Dennis moved. Yeah, exactly. I'm pretty sure that's what they did. No, it was one of the first episodes. He goes out to dinner with his assistant coach, and I'm trying to figure out where the fuck they are because they're outside, they're eating, and I know the place because I've seen it. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, they're at Stone Brewery out at Liberty Station. Because then I finally recognized the buildings, which I would take Pepper to walk all the time out there at Liberty Station. And I'm like, I'm surprised they actually went out there and filmed at Liberty Station. They're actually filming in San Diego, which is interesting. So, hey, Stanley, thanks. Yes, it is Orthodox Easter for those of us non-heathens in the audience. That's tomorrow, by the way, is Orthodox Easter. So you're going to say, what's the difference between Orthodox Easter and regular Easter? They follow two different calendars. One follows the Gregorian calendar. One follows the Julian calendar. So basically, Orthodox Easter has not changed in 2,000 years. The whatever the other one is follows whatever the made-up calendar one is. So there you go. Yeah, heathens. Yeah. So you like Shadow and Bone? I know a lot of people who didn't, but I think that's because the source material was different. I haven't gotten into it yet. I haven't looked at it yet, but and speaking of something I might not get into, August 10th, Fox is going to premiere its Fantasy Island reboot with Rosalind Sanchez playing Elena Rourke to greet the guests. Now, if you know the name Rourke, of course, she is supposed to be a direct descendant of Ricardo Montalban's character, Mr. Rourke. And yes, like, fuck me, man, really. They've been trying to reboot Fantasy Island now for decades. I mean, there was an early 2000s reboot try on ABC. Then there was that movie where they tried to make it into a horror movie that just came out fairly recently. And then now they're doing this Fox TV show. And I'm like, come on, man, really? Really? Penn says, glad you're never controversial, Dennis. I feel that sarcasm coming through the screen there, Penn. No, I'm not. Not that controversial. Keith Hamilton says, I didn't mind Shadow and Bone. Oh, okay. Raymond K. Hessel says the Gregorian is more correct as timekeeping was sketchy back then. There are weeks missing from the Julian. Yeah. But it's tradition. I am not going to break into song, by the way, for those of you Fiddler on the Roof fans. And I agree with you, Carl. All calendars are made up. That was the whole joke in there. I'm glad you got it. I really don't give a shit about religion, to tell you the truth. I look at it this way. It's yes, it's Orthodox Easter, which means there's some really fucking great Easter bread. There's Greek Easter bread that comes out, and I swear to God, I could live off of that shit because it's really good. It only comes out around Easter, and also my relatives that I'm actually going to be spending time with tomorrow are making domades from scratch, and not the shitty ass domades that you get at whatever Middle Eastern restaurant or that pose as a Greek restaurant. No, I'm talking about the real stuff where you actually have meat and rice in there wrapped in the grape leaves, hand rolled. Yeah, all that stuff. Yeah, that's yeah. Sorry, I just kind of got hungry all of a sudden thinking about it. But that's tomorrow. That's the reason why I'm moving the Nevers to Monday. I've actually got to change that out on the calendar, by the way, on the schedule. I forgot about that. Spanakopita. We're actually having tiropita, is what it's called, Apple Crow. So for those, again, of you who don't know what it is, so spanakopita, yes, is spinach and cheese. Tiropita has 3 different kinds of cheeses in it and is so much better. Yeah, we're having something called pastizo, if you know what that is. Raymond says, are you close with your heritage? Not really. I mean, I know of it, and I don't celebrate all that stuff. So, but I do know where the good Greek restaurants are, and stuff like that in the Bay Area. There is one in San Francisco that has been around for since the 90s, I want to say. And it's been around since the 90s for a very good reason. It's actually really fucking good. And that is my go-to one that I'll go to. And they do moussaka, which of course everyone knows about, in its own little earthenware bowl. And so they actually make little ones, for people, and it's awesome. Yeah, Apple Crow. I'm skipping over that joke just because it's been played out, since I want to say since around 15,000 AD or 15,000 BC. Yeah, that's about as much Greek as I have too, Stanley. I don't speak it, so yeah. I know some of the bad words. That's about it. But you're supposed to know bad words in all different languages. For those Russians out there, pizda. There you go. Oh my God, he just said something really bad. Yep, I got right past the YouTube censors on that one. Philip Ademic says, I heard a rumor you promised to break into a song. No, that was not me. Yeah, that's not me, man. You want me to sing a little Fiddler on the Roof for you? Tradition. There you go. This is kind of interesting. I'm interested in seeing this. David Cronenberg is remaking his old movie, his old like indie movie, Crimes of the Future. And that's going to be interesting. I haven't seen a David Cronenberg movie in a long time, and I want to see something from him again. He does a lot of really good, just weird ass movies, and it's always an adventure going into a movie with him. My favorite of his that is very underrated is Existence with Jude Law and Jennifer Jason Leigh. And it came out literally the same weekend as The Matrix. And since they were both kind of mind-bending movies about virtual realities, if you will, that his kind of went into obscurity, and The Matrix, of course, got lifted into cult status and, of course, cultural status at that point. But Existence is a great movie. If you haven't seen it, go and watch it. It's I saw it in an indie theater in San Francisco. God, when it came out, I'm trying to remember where I saw it. I want to say it was either the Embarcadero at the time, or no, I think it was a smaller theater than that. Yeah, the Embarcadero was an indie theater, but it's got like 4 theaters in there, so they're decent size. Um, I want to say it was a smaller theater, but I can't remember offhand. It's been a while, you know. Raymond K. Hessel says, "Will his style of practical effects fly with audiences raised on CGI?" Really, Raymond? I think Cronenberg, his movies that I know he did one like a couple of years ago, and I want to say it just gets released as an indie movie, and he still does just indie movies. I don't think he does anything that's really a commercially big budget, if you will. And he just goes with that. The Cronenbergs, aren't that some kind of Rick and Morty mutants? Yeah. Yes, they are, Stanley. I did love that Dan Harmon has made that a subspecies of creatures within his universe, his Rick and Morty universe. The Cronenberg universe. And of course that's from The Fly that he did. That I think that's his biggest budget movie that he did was The Fly with Jeff Goldblum and Gina Davis. And it's still a good movie. It's body horror taken to an extreme. He really likes doing body horror kind of movies. And Existence is again no different than that. It does have some body horror to it. And for those of you who don't know what body horror is, it's when you either do morphing of bodies of stuff that happens, mutations of bodies, and it's shown in graphic detail. instead of just talked about. So The Fly being one of them. Yeah. No, The Thing was John Carpenter, Raymond. Another great director who's supposedly going to be working on another movie fairly soon, from what I understand. I hope that's the case because I love John Carpenter movies too. Yeah. Stanley Tweedle says, "I always spit on my food because that movie really helps with the digestion." Yeah, don't do that. That's nasty. Somebody's screaming outside. I don't know what's going on out there. The Meg 2 begins filming in January of 2022. Okay, so another gigantic shark movie or prehistoric shark movie. I didn't see the first one. I'm not into giant shark movies. So I think I've said this before. Um, so I still have never seen Jaws, any of the Jaws series. I know of it. I know how the movie plays out. I know, all the beats of it and everything. It's just it came out when I was a child, and the thing actually traumatized me. Actually, I should say my brother traumatized me with that Jaws movie. So he played on it and basically did psychological torture on me. Um, so as a result, I can never watch that movie. Any movie with sharks in it actually gives me a little bit of anxiety, uh, to tell you the truth. And yes, I know Jaws is a classic. I know that the shark looks fake. I've seen it. It still gives me this a bit of anxiety when I watch it. And so, or when I watch anything with sharks in it. And yet I have a degree in marine biology. So go figure. And yeah, so I have no desire to see it just because I can't. It's really one of those I guess you could say phobia, fears, whatever. And yes, King Shark is still one of my favorite characters. But then again, that's all been animated, Apple Crow. I'm looking forward to seeing the live action version. I mean, the little bit of live action version that I've seen of him from the James Gunn version, I fucking totally in. I'm all in on that, especially with Stallone voicing him. I think it's gonna be great. Yeah, Stanley. I had problems around swimming pools for a while when I was a kid of just getting into pools. So yeah, I'm right there with you. The brain does terrible things to you when you have that kind of when you have phobias and whatnot. So yeah, and Netflix is going to be premiering both. For those of you Sailor Moon fans out there, they're going to be premiering both Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon Eternal, the movie, parts 1 and 2, on June 3rd, 2021. So for those of you Sailor Moon fans out there, you know who you are. There you go. So you can't watch The Hustler and Color of Money. Yeah, funny, man. Really funny. Raymond K. Hess says it traumatized all of us. I like fighting sharks when I lucid dream. Really? Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know, man. Um I haven't given it a go of trying to watch I just can't. Um Even the music is it's psychologically ingrained in me. And like I said, my brother literally it was psychological torture to that point, to the point where it's so ingrained in me I can't do it. Yeah. I'm fairly sure Ron Funches is coming back for Harley Quinn season 3 when it comes out. Is it season 3 or season 2? I can't remember now what season they're on. Stanley Tweedle says Sailor Moon always seemed a little too obscurish for me. Yeah, it's. I always think of whenever I think of Sailor Moon, I think of perverts. I don't know it. It just kind of goes hand in hand for me for some reason. There's a joke in there someplace, but yeah. That's just weird. Cheryl Lira says they're showing previews for Apple TV's Foundation. Ah. Yeah, again, Apple TV, that's another platform there's not enough there. So I had an idea that if these apps really want to get my money off of something, if there's a series like Foundation, okay? Foundation, I'd be interested in seeing that, but I don't want to pay the Apple subscription fee in order to watch it. If it was available for me to say rent, for example, episodes or a season pass too, I would pay it just for that one series. I don't want to pay your subscription rate. Give me a reasonable payment plan, payment for a series or a season pass. I'll pay it. Otherwise, I'm not doing the subscription because it ends up becoming too hard to get out of a subscription, all that kind of stuff. And yeah. Oh, it's on season 3. Thanks, Pen, for Harley Quinn. I couldn't remember offhand. There's been so much stuff in between. Yeah. Stanley says, I like Ted Lasso and Mythic Quest. Yeah, I've heard of Ted Lasso. Again, it's just not enough for me to get into it. Raymond K. Hessel says, hey, I was a kid when I watched Sailor Moon. I thought Tuxedo Mask was cool, is what cool people look like. I'm sorry, man. It's just really, it's, so if you're in the comic book store realm and Sailor Moon was, yeah, there was a lot of perverts that were associated with Sailor Moon that were coming to the comic store. That's all I can say. And that's why it kind of tainted my view on stuff. Yeah. There just were. I'm sorry, man. Sleeper says Apple TV has Mythic Quest. I really love that show. Huh? I don't know what that is, but I never heard of that one actually. Excuse me. So the final thing that I have here is, so along with that Fantasy Island reboot on August 10th will also be the season 2 premiere of Stargirl on the CW. So they've announced when they're coming out there. CW Stargirl August 10th. It's no longer on HBO or DC Universe because DC Universe doesn't exist anymore. And it's not on HBO Max. I think season 1 actually might be on season HBO Max, if I'm not mistaken. No, I think it's on the CW. Yeah. I don't know. But I'm kind of on the fence about watching season 2 of that. Season 1 was okay until the end. The end was just bad. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Celebro says, my kids watch Glitter Force and it's basically a Sailor Moon ripoff. Yeah, I mean, a lot of stuff gets ripped off quite a bit. I miss DC Universe as well, Pen. It was actually a good fucking app. It really was. It was something that was actually decent. And if they still had it and they were still, promoting, they do have it still, but it's only for comics. But if they also were still making shows for that app, I would probably still be subscribed to it because I actually liked watching the shows. And then afterwards, I can go and read the comics online there. So, yeah. Yeah, it's one of those things that Warner Brothers, once there's something good that comes out, they're like, oh, wait, it's too good. We need to fuck it up somehow. And that's what they do. I know we're going to remove all the original content from it and just make it a comic book thing. And we're still going to charge the same price of $8 a fucking month. Yeah. Penn says, I liked every show, even Titans, and I rewatched Constantine. Well, I know that, because HBO Max came out, that was the reason why they killed it, because they couldn't have people being. It was a cheaper HBO Max, I guess, but it was only DC, focused, and that would have taken away from HBO Max. Now, granted, they've moved a lot of the stuff over onto HBO Max, but the comic section is what's not there. HBO Max is supposed to be releasing a ad supported version for. I know right now it's $14.99 a month. It's going to be, I want to say $6.99 a month is what they said for the ad supported version, or $7.99 a month, somewhere around there. Um, I'm not going to go for that one. I just can't. Yeah. Any picks other than the batch coming in May, guys? Yeah. Jupiter Ascending is coming out on Friday. Raymond. Rick and Morty's not coming out for a while. I can't remember offhand when that is. I don't think I have that on the schedule. I do not have that on the schedule. Well, we have a slew of Marvel movies that are coming out this year. We have 4 Marvel. Is it 4? Yeah, we have 4 Marvel movies coming out this year. We have Black Widow on July 9th, Shang-Chi on September 3rd, The Eternals on November 5th, and Spider-Man 3 on December 17th. So, yeah, and I am glad that Disney got their head out of their ass and decided to actually do the streaming for Black Widow, because I'm not going to a theater. I'm not going to a theater. Stanley says, will you review LDNR season 2? What is LDNR? I'm blanking on that. I'm not going to be doing Castlevania season 4. Sorry. Anything that drops all at once, Stanley, is really, 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 really hard to do. And it's just really hard to cover, especially when it's multiple episodes. Jupiter's Legacy, I will be covering. Yes. Well, I'm probably going to do Is It Worth My Time on Jupiter's Legacy. It's, again, when something drops in multiple episodes like that all at once, people tend to just skip over and they're like, get to this episode. And that really fucking annoys me, quite honestly, when I'm trying to talk about it. So it's just easier to do an Is It Worth My Time and kind of lump it all together and bring it out there. So you'd be safer watching a movie with actual Black Widows. Well, I don't know about that. I look at it this way, man. I know how movie theaters operate, and I know the CDC says that touchpoint surfaces are not a route for transmission for COVID-19, which all the other research that I've read about, which is actual clinical research, things like that, when we were starting all of this, says otherwise. There's actually a list of surfaces and how long this stuff lasts on. It's a published scientific paper. I'm not taking my chances on that shit. So even though I'm fully vaccinated, there you go. And once the population gets vaccinated to about 70%, then we're okay. And I'm okay with that. Then maybe I'll venture back out into the world again of that stuff. Philip says, I want to see Black Widow at the drive-in. I don't think it's going to suck. I really don't. Don't confuse people with science. I know, Penn. My apologies. I'll keep my logic to myself. Stanley says it's very unlikely to catch it from the surfaces outside of... No, not really. Again, I know a lot of researchers that have been working on this. So I did work at a university. Actually, I work at universities is what I do. And most of the people I work with are researchers. And because of the whole COVID-19 and all grants being shifted towards that kind of route, everyone's working on COVID-19 research. Pretty much everybody. Because that's where the money is for grants, for grant money. Hey, congratulations, Penn. 60% of people know statistics can be misleading. 40% of the time, it works 100% of the time. Isn't that what it was from Anchorman? For, Panther Piss or whatever that was, the that cologne, 40% of the time, it works 100% of the time. I can never remember it, but it always makes me laugh. Yeah. Philip Raymond says, "In the future, in the future, you think VR will take over our experiences like in Ready Player One?" I doubt it. There's still motion sickness to be contended with, Raymond, and a lot of people that I know that have used the Oculus said it gives them motion sickness. Um, so I think right there, you're not going to have really good VR experiences. It's gonna be hard to do. If you could do something where you can implant something into someone's brain, which again, that's going to cause a whole host of issues as well. To do VR that way, then possibly, but you're going to still only have a small contingent of people. There's always going to be a break in society over how things are done. So putting a chip into someone's head, you're going to have a bunch of religious people that are going to be up in arms over that. Not to mention a lot of ethical people, people in ethics are going to be up in arms over that. Me being one of them, because what's to say if you're changing a person's perception of reality that you can't manipulate that to your own ends? Um, I would even say the same thing if you're constantly having people living in a VR world. Can you not also manipulate that in a way to influence people in a bad way? So, I mean, I still think it's going to be a niche kind of world until you get like holodecks or something like that. And even then, your holodecks are not going to be a good approximation of the real world. It's going to be really hard to do. Raymond says it also depends which country you live in too, right? My Australian buddy says going. So yeah, in Australia, in New Zealand right now has like zero. They are. If you take a look at New Zealand right now, they are living like there's no COVID there, so they are doing everything as normal, as they were doing before, and you just don't hear about it on the news here because then you'd have a whole bunch of people trying to go to New Zealand to go and do things, and they're going to block them at the airport and say, "Fuck you, go away, you diseased cretins." Carl M says, "Do you think we should be able to watch really old movies like The Hustler on streamers or for free?" I think it should be for free. I mean, at that point, those movies are. I mean, but then again, where do you draw the line? I mean, what? I mean, you have a channel called TCM, Turner Classic Movies, that used to show all these movies, but I don't even know where that's at now. I know it was on cable at one point, and I thought there was an app, but I don't know where it's at now. But yeah, I mean, classic movies like that are things that not only are good to watch, but also they're educational for people that want to get into film or TV production or anything like that later on in life, because you're going to sit through those things when you go to film school and film class. I know I took multiple classes on film technique, and everyone I know always shits on modern day people shit on Citizen Kane. They're like, well, it's a shitty movie. Well, what you don't understand is the history of it. It's the first movie where the camera wasn't locked down to the floor. And that's the reason why it's so good, is because all the modern film techniques that you see happening now are because of Citizen Kane. Because Orson Welles took the camera off the lockdown mode, or the stage mode, if you will, if you're watching a play, and actually moved the camera around, put it on dollies and things like that. And that's what you don't learn about unless you are able to watch old movies. and making them free and more accessible, that's where you have it as well. Where are we at here? Raymond K. says, are we in a simulation already? 50-50 chance on that one, Raymond. So, yeah, who knows? Keith Hamilton says, New Zealand took it super seriously in the beginning, and now they're reaping the rewards. Exactly. They took it really super seriously. They locked everything down. And I think they were only locked down for like 3 months, something like that. And they came out of it perfect. I actually wanted to move to New Zealand back in, I want to say it was like 2011, 2012, somewhere around there. And I was actually looking at immigrating and everything. The only thing was I just didn't, job wise, I couldn't find anything there. And this is before, of course, all the New Zealand craze and all that. Yeah. Stanley says, my country has land borders to 9 countries, not the same as New Zealand. Yeah. Well, yeah, New Zealand is an island too. So they can block off people from coming in. That is a good point, Stanley. Yeah. Where you have, some of the Scandinavian countries that are going herd immunity, just let everyone die. And they're right next door to other countries, and you have all these people wandering in. Yeah. Hipster. Who's a hipster? All right. Well, I don't have any more news for you guys. That's all the news I've got. I should probably look at wrapping things up. The little dog is staring at me. Actually, she's half asleep and looking up at me. And yeah, but she's ready to go. This is what's going to happen here. So thank you to everybody who joined me today in the chat. And thank you if you made it this far in the video. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, take a look at the video that pops up at the very end here. Basically, YouTube takes the algorithms of all the stuff you've been watching and tries to match it as best as possible. One of the videos in my vast video library pops up there just for you. And if you like what you see there, hit that subscribe button down below there. Also, if you can, hit that like button and the share button as well. And if you want to know when I'll be on live again next, hit the bell down below. It's a 50-50 chance of YouTube actually notifying you. Best thing to do is go to suspendedfanimation.com. Take a look at the schedule up there. I change it out every week. Also, all the links to my social media are there, and the links to my pages are there as well. Oh, man. So what else do I have going on this week? Like I said, I'm going to move the Nevers to Monday night. Tuesday is going to be the Bad Batch, episode 1 of the Bad Batch on Disney Plus. Wednesday will be another episode of Is It Worth My Time, or take the genre news of the week and any other genre stuff you guys want to talk about, and we talk about it. I don't know what I'm going to be doing as of yet. I just actually blew past that. Wednesday is actually going to be another episode of Is It Worth My Time, and I don't know what I'm doing yet. That's what it was. Wow, brain fart on it altogether. Thursday I'm going to be off. Friday, if there's a new episode 2 of the Bad Batch on Friday, I'll cover it. Otherwise, I'll be off. And then we roll back around to Saturday with Saturday Morning Blast Off, where I take the genre news of the week and any other genre stuff you guys want to talk about. Move the Nevers to never is what Stanley says. It's getting close there, Stanley. I mean, it's not bad. It's not a bad thing. It's just not great either. It's mediocre is really what it feels like. It feels very mediocre, I have to admit. And thank you, Stanley, by the way. Yeah. Philip Adamic says Demon Slayer on a Train is out on video. That's good news. Most successful anime movie in history. Okay. Haven't heard of it, but all right. Stanley says the Mevers. It is pretty meh. I have to admit, it really is. They need to do something to, I don't know, juice up the story a bit. I like the premise of it. There's stuff that's in there that's good, but there isn't anything that is holding my interest. It's not generating enough for me. at the moment. It needs to ramp things up a bit. But that's why it's moving over to Monday for just this week, because I'm going to go hang out with family tomorrow. I like the actors too, Penn. I mean, like I said, the acting's good. The characters are good. It's just the story needs to pick up a little bit. It really does. There needs to be something more to it. Um, yeah, it just bleh. At the moment, it's just bleh. There we go. I agree. I agree, Penn. All right. I'm gonna let you guys go. Thank you to everybody who's here today, and to you out there watching as well. I will see you guys again on Monday is where I'm going to go. Yeah, I'm just going to say that. We'll just go. I'll see you on Monday. Until then, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you may, I don't know, just end up finally getting 1,000 subs. It took 2 years, but it got there finally. Thank you, everybody. I will see you again on Monday. Until then, stay safe, be well, take care, wear those masks, get those vaccine shots if you can, get an appointment for it. And I will see you again on Monday. Have a good weekend. Take care, and have a good rest of your day, too. Bye.